Hello, you're on the smoking section with Stephen Helfer, as you saw on the opening page, or whatever you might call that. And Mike Hudson has agreed to be on the show tonight. Mike, welcome to the smoking section.
Thank you, Stephen.
And you were on a show here on CCTV, I think a year ago.
Correct.
And with a fellow named Stephen Funk.
Correct.
I don't know if that's his real name.
Maybe it was a pseudonym. I'm not sure.
And what was the subject of the show?
I don't know. Just any crazy people in Central Square.
Oh, really? Well, yeah. Well, you don't look like such a crazy person, so I don't know how you would fit in that show. But, Mike, we had a bit of a conversation before you came on the show, and you said you're from Virginia, which is one of the 5, states in the...
Commonwealths.
It's a Commonwealth, really?
Yep.
How many? Do you know how many Commonwealths there are other than Virginia and...
Kentucky and Massachusetts, Virginia.
Really?
Missing another one.
But they're...
But I'm from here, though, so...
You're from here, but your family was from Virginia?
No, I went to school there.
And but that is a tobacco growing state. One of the 5 tobacco growing states.
You wouldn't believe it. You go through Richmond. You drive through Richmond down 95, and all you'd smell is tobacco.
Real? What does it? I mean, I have no idea what tobacco smells like when it's not being burnt. When it's just
processed. When it's being processed.
So it's been put in houses to kind of dry. They cure it and things like that.
Now this was testing my mentally right now, but this is it. I don't know. They're processing. They're making them into cigarettes.
Yeah. And is the smell? I mean, sometimes.
No, I like the smell.
Really?
Yeah, I have no problem.
Because I mean, for example, if I go by I used to go by one of the bakeries that used to be down near North Station. It had a really nice smell.
Which one?
I can't remember. It was a locally made bread. It was right near North Station, but if you were in the vicinity, you would get a really nice smell from that.
Sure.
But I understand. I fortunately haven't experienced it. If you live near a pig farm, it's not always such a nice smell. And if you live near a paper factory, it also has a really...
That's even worse if you're up in Maine or something.
Oh,
like
is that right? I've never experienced a paper farm odor or paper...
Up in Berlin, Maine.
Oh, Berlin, Maine.
New Hampshire, excuse my language here.
Well, there's a Berlin, New Hampshire, there's a Berlin, Maine, I think.
That's New Hampshire, I believe.
Well, there is one just...
my accent's not fake. It's just kicking in there just to
well, which accent are we talking about?
I'm from Boston.
Oh, you're from Boston, but you don't have a terribly strong accent.
Yeah, well, sometimes self-defective.
I have a friend who would outdoes you in the Boston accent category.
Get out of here, who?
Well, it's someone I know named Michael O'Brien, and he is
from Cambridge.
No, from guess where?
Cambridge.
No, in the Boston area, a name is Michael.
Don't say Dorchester.
No, he's from South Boston, as a matter of fact.
All right.
Well, you went to school in Virginia.
University of Virginia, yes.
And you sold...
Boston College undergrad, by the way. So
really? So you did graduate work down there, University of Virginia?
Correct.
That's in Chapel Hill, isn't it? Or no, I'm thinking North Carolina. University of Virginia, where is that?
Charlottesville, Virginia. Where nobody smokes.
What do you mean in Charlottesville? Come on. Those days?
Nobody smoked.
In those days?
No, we were studying.
Yeah.
No, but Richmond smelled like tobacco. The Marlboro man had this thing in Richmond, would go like this. This thing was a huge sign. This is Richmond. If you're going down farther south into Georgia or something like that, the thing would be going like this. Mm-hmm. The Marlboro man smoking a cigarette.
Well, there was a famous...
I thought it was cool, but I never smoked.
There was a famous sign in... I don't know if you ever heard or saw it, but when I was a child in Times Square, New York, there was a billboard, and it was
the Marlboro Man.
No, that was Camel.
Camel Man.
And no, he would blow out a smoke ring.
Oh boy.
And I remember my parents, pointing out that sign to me. That had to be around 1952 or 3, I guess. when I was 5 or 6. But the smoke rings didn't, at least when I saw them, really didn't come out that well, because unless, if it was windy, forget about it.
I can see you now. I look that way. Okay.
And so you went to school down there, and you smelled tobacco, and you were in this state, but you never picked up smoking. That's unusual. I mean, most people have tried smoking at some. You must have tried it at some point, right?
It made me sick.
Really, from the beginning, from the get-go.
Yep.
Like nauseous if you smoked a cigarette.
I don't know why. I don't know. It just made me sick. I'm not sure why.
Right. Did your? But you say now you're not a big fan of tobacco from our short conversation that we had.
I did plug, by the way.
Oh, really? That's a real. And did you enjoy that?
Yes, I did.
But that's something that really takes time to get used to.
Makes you sick again, but it gives you like instead of like a Star 7-Eleven coffee or something, it gives you like a,
Well, when you were in the South, did you pick up plug?
They all did, and I swear to God, they would do. I couldn't believe this. This is 1988. This is
1988. That's late. Yeah.
Yeah.
And plug means
I'm 55, so
right.
The little things in the little cans, and the kids, and this is a good school too, by the way. These kids would come in to class, the undergrads. I was in grad school, but the undergrads they'd actually walk in with like coffee cups.
Oh, right. Yes. But not the women. The women didn't. There are not many women who. Right?
No, they do not.
I mean, I'm sure there's some in the country.
Oh, I'm sure they're doing it today, right?
I don't know. You think that's women's liberation?
Nah, I don't know, but I'm serious. They used to like put it in a cup.
They're spit. Right? Yeah, sure.
I tried it. Didn't do it.
So you tried plug, but did you do it a bit, or did you just?
I liked it.
You did like it?
Yeah, I had a friend who liked doing it for himself, and I tried to figure out, like, do I like it? And
Well, I remember the first time...
it made me high as a kite.
Really? Well, I remember my father, when I was about 5 years old, I asked him, or 7 years old, I asked him to get me some chewing tobacco.
Oh, Red Men or something?
I can't remember where we were. It might have been Florida. Or it might have been, well, what was it? Red Man and, boy, that's not a politically correct name for a product, is it? Is it still available, Red Man?
I don't know. I don't go near it. I don't.
Anyway, and so my father bought me, what I remember is like a square of tobacco that looked more or less like a brownie, about the same size. I mean, we're talking many years ago.
Yep.
And I took a little bit and nibbled it, and I didn't, as a 5 or 6 year old child, I wasn't.
What? That age?
Mm-hmm. I wasn't taken by it. I mean, I didn't start chewing tobacco.
Mm.
I don't think my father thought I would start chewing tobacco, but I wanted to try it.
Mm.
And my parents were very...
Where was this?
Well, we might have been on a trip to the South, but, I knew that cowboys chewed tobacco, so I wanted to chew tobacco.
Oh, I see. You like cowboy.
I think. Oh, is that your phone, Mike?
I'm trying to shut it off.
Okay, well, let's just forget about it. Let's just forget about your phone. We'll ignore it. We can ignore things.
Mm.
Now, well, actually, my mother once told me that cowboys used to be able to roll a cigarette.
Yeah, with one hand.
In other words, they would take the pouch, open the tobacco, put it in a paper, roll it
on a horse.
On a horse. Did you ever hear that?
Of course I did.
Do you think that's true?
After seeing, I'm not going to say what I'm thinking there, but I think absolutely. Yeah.
Say what you think. Speak before you think. If you want to. You're welcome to on this show.
I'm sorry I didn't put my phone off. I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You believe that they could do that?
I think Ronald Reagan probably could have done it too.
Oh, you really? Oh, come on. Why? Why would you say Ronald Reagan?
I knew our Secretary of Environment rode in on a horse. I'm sure he was doing the same damn thing.
The Secretary of the Environment, you mean right now?
Mm-hmm. Let's not talk politics.
Oh, I talk politics, but only as it relates to tobacco. Now, my co-founder or I should say, well, that's an interesting question because I am the co-founder of Cambridge Citizens for Smokers' Rights. And there is a co-foundress, too. Anyway, someone asked us why we are interested in Cambridge Citizens for Smokers' Rights, why we can advocate for that, subject. Well, I think there are a number of areas that we feel, let's say arguments we can make to support our position. And one of those arguments is that a disproportionately large number of people who smoke are poor, are mentally ill. And so, my argument goes to tax these people and to restrict them in every way you can, and to make hiring bans and to stigmatize them through, let's say, media campaigns is really an unethical public health policy.
I agree. Come on.
You agree with that?
Yes. And if you think about it, thank God I don't smoke. I mentioned to you earlier, my family smoked, and like a $10 pack of cigarettes. If I had to have that, I drink too much. That's one thing. I'd get my 240s or something. Which is bad for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had a tobacco addiction,
yes,
then $10.
$10, yeah, minimum. Yeah, $10 minimum. But in New York, they're $14
for cigarettes.
New York City for a package of cigarettes.
Yeah. Well, I guess the answer is I don't know. What are you suggesting? I think the idea is, first of all, do you still smoke?
Yes, I do. I enjoy smoking very much.
What do you smoke? Do you roll your own or something?
I am rolling my own now, but the taxes on roll your own gosh, now how long has it been? About 8 years ago, doubled, or more. The taxes more than doubled, so the price of roll your own doubled.
So you can buy your own things and roll them, right?
Right, and they're somewhat less expensive than conventional cigarettes.
Right.
So you asked me, I roll my own. Why did you ask me that question?
Because you want to save some money.
Well, I want to save some money, that's right. But I mean, there are people, right, but now I had a friend who died recently.
Of what?
I think he died, God rest his soul, of kidney problems.
Drinking too?
No, he wasn't a drinker, but he was a victim of schizophrenia, and that he developed when he was about 21, I think. So all of his for 50 years, he was taking powerful antipsychotic drugs.
Well, which ones were they?
Well, whatever they were pretty powerful. Probably Haldol, my guess is, but or Depakote, Haldol. I don't know. There's
nothing wrong with smoking a cigarette or two. How many do you smoke?
You're asking me how many do I smoke?
Am I supposed to look at you?
You can look at me. You can look at me, or you can look at that camera.
Right, okay.
But
right.
don't look at the monitor.
Okay.
I don't know why you're not supposed to look at the monitor, but
don't know.
If you look at it,
man.
if you look at it, we'll both turn into pumpkins.
Well,
Okay, so don't look at
turn orange or something.
Yes, that's right.
Well,
exactly.
how many do you roll for yourself?
Well, let me just, mention my friend. So he had extremely debilitating schizophrenia. He was taking powerful antipsychotic drugs. I think those contributed to his kidney failure at the age of 73.
Which is a very young age.
Well, no, 73 for someone who has schizophrenia from the age of 21.
That's very old age.
For a schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Schizophrenic, because, they're taking very powerful drugs. They're really not capable of taking care of themselves well.
But how does it relate to
to tobacco?
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. Basically, he had two pleasures in life that really never failed him. One was tobacco, and the other was coffee. He didn't drink very much at all, and he didn't smoke. I don't think he's ever smoked marijuana or anything like that. My point is that towards the end of his life, the last 10 years of his life,
When was this, by the way?
He died in December.
This year?
That last year,
Yeah.
just 2016. I mean, all of his money went for tobacco. Everything. And he could not go inside to a coffee house and sit there, if it was cold or snowy or rainy.
Because he wanted to smoke.
Right. I mean, so I'm just saying that, these restrictions and this campaign on many people is, I think, unethical public health policy. I mean, you're not supposed to torture people for their own good.
It's a mental health. How you phrase that, I think it's a mental health. But I worked years back in government, and I had to go every single morning into the assessor's office, the building inspector's office, and the building inspector's office every single day.
Right.
And they were all smoking cigarettes.
Yes.
And my mother died of lung cancer.
Right.
Just about a year prior.
And what decade was this approximately?
It would be in the early 90s. And this is back when they...
Early 90s. Okay. Right.
My mother died when I was living in Cambridge back in 89, 90. And when I was working, I'd go to work. I had my first nice professional job. And I'd have to go into the office. And the building inspector would sit in there like...
Yeah. Right.
In a small office.
Right. Yeah.
And the zoning board of appeals secretary would every place in this building. That's that long down.
Is this the state or the city, or do you know?
It was a town.
It was a town.
Very nice town too.
In the state of in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Wellesley, sorry.
Oh, was that right? It was in Wellesley?
I'm not afraid to say.
There's no reason to be. The truth just set
And I
you
was
free.
living here, and I'd go in there like every day.
Yes.
And I had to work in closer quarters than, like you and I sitting here.
Yeah.
I'd have to ask you questions. And
Right.
Somebody sitting there smoking,
Right.
chain smoking in the
Right.
trunk.
And you did not like that.
No, my mother died of lung cancer just about a year prior, 2 years
Right,
prior.
right,
Very serious in Virginia. So,
Yes.
it's kind of like, I don't think these people should be doing this stuff in front of me.
Right. Right. And you felt that way at the time, but you did not feel there was anything you could do because, you couldn't say anything.
Oh, I did something about.
And were you able to get, relief?
Yes.
So they'd stop smoking in the office when you were the president, or?
Yeah, but by that time, they were so mad at me. Like, oh, you're making me not smoke anymore.
Right. Right.
Oh, well, too bad for you. Well, they're all like in their 70s or something. They're all like, okay, don't you understand that you should not be smoking in your office?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're obviously.
My mother just died of lung cancer.
Right.
At 44 years old. It's like, have a little sense. First of all, it's illegal now. They can't do that now.
At that time, there had not been laws, the
That's
so-called,
right.
The anti-smoking laws.
That's correct. Yeah. It took a while.
Well, I mean, people.
It cost me personal relationships with people because they got mad because they had to go outside and smoke.
Right.
And they were like, oh, we can't just sit in our office and smoke. And me sitting
Were you able to continue with that job? I mean,
No, absolutely not. I lost my job because I got pissed off. I lost all my ability to have personal interactions with people and the people who...
with whom you were working.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And because they most of them were older than me.
Yeah.
I don't forget it. I'm 55 years old at this point. But
at this point, you're 55, right? Yeah.
But they didn't see.
Well, it seems to me. Okay. Well, without I can understand how you would be upset about that, and how you could feel that
they got mad because they had to go outside.
No, I understand.
They had to go outside and smoke.
I understand that.
They didn't like that much.
The question is, should smoking be banned everywhere in every building in the state of Massachusetts? Or let's say, do you think it would be reasonable, for example, if a room was set aside with ventilation to the outside where you would not have to go, and they could, like in the winter or at night, etc., that those people could go, would you think that would be a reasonable combination for those people who are non-smokers and for those people who are smokers?
I still, if I have somebody I like very much, I said, you can smoke in the house if you want to.
Uh-huh.
Just take one.
Yeah, don't
go-
chain smoke.
Then go out. Yeah, exactly.
You get one cigarette, and the second one you got to go outside.
Outside, right.
Really? Okay. Well, but I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, our point is, we're not trying to push smoking on everybody or anybody, frankly, but we do think that as human beings, we smokers do have some rights also, as non-smokers do. So that, for example, if I own a business and I want to put a room in the basement.
I think that's cool.
Right, but right now in the state of Massachusetts, that violates state law.
What? Are you kidding me?
No. There can be no office building in the state of Massachusetts, to my knowledge, can have a small room in the basement, ventilated to the outside, where people who smoke can go and have a cigarette.
Why was that?
Well,
When was this, by the way?
I assume it was sometime after the year 2000, and I assume that the stated reason for the law was, well, they want to protect people from secondhand smoke, and even if there's no one in the room, it might smell a little smoky, and if a janitor has to go in and clean it, that's dangerous. Or, I mean, they usually couch these things in, we're protecting other people. But to me, that's a stretch.
Steve, can I ask you a question?
You may ask me anything you would like.
How much do you smoke every day?
I smoke, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how much I smoke a day, but I would assume, let's say, if I roll my own cigarettes, I would say I probably smoke the equivalent of 15 to 20 cigarettes a day. I'm dying for a cigarette right now. I'm dying for a cigarette
Now,
right
where
now.
do you smoke it?
Fortunately, thank God, I can smoke in my condominium. But, there are a lot of condominiums now who are banning smoking. You can't smoke in your own condominium.
What do you think of those blue things, whatever they're called?
Electronic cigarettes.
Yeah, what do you think of those?
I'm not that interested in them. I really enjoy tobacco. I enjoy smoking. I think I've always been someone who did not like to be told what to do.
Yeah,
I mean, I think if I didn't smoke,
God knows what.
no, I think if I didn't smoke, I would still be against the war on smoking. I mean, I don't know that for fact, but I don't like all this control on people. I mean, I'm not against speeding. I'm not against speeding. What do you call it? What do they call when what do they call that? When you put a limit to the speed you can go on a road.
Oh God.
Speed limits. I'm not against speed limits.
You're gonna love self-driving cars.
Oh, jeez, no, I'm not into that. I'm not into it. So, Mike, and there are companies. I mean, the government. There are, the anti-smoking groups are encouraging companies not to hire smokers.
Would you hire a smoker?
Sure. Yeah, sometimes I think they're more productive than non-smokers, but I wouldn't discriminate on that basis. Just as I wouldn't discriminate on the basis of a person's color. I wouldn't discriminate on whether a person eats meat. I wouldn't discriminate on the person whether he or she drinks. It just matters if that person is a reasonably good employee, comes in at the right time, leaves at the right time, and gets his or her work.
Yeah, but what if they need 10 smoke breaks every 5 seconds?
That would be a problem. But the thing is, what I would do, if I were an employer and allowed to, I would have a smoking room so that the person wouldn't have to go outside.
But how about in a public facility? See,
Well, tell me what a public facility is. What do you
town hall?
A town hall. I would put a small smoking room.
City hall.
In the city hall, yeah. Where it would be ventilated to the outside.
Where?
And in Cambridge City Hall, they have plenty of space to do that. I mean, they have plenty of space that they could do that. I know Cambridge City Hall pretty well, and it's not that they have tons of space, but if they wanted to accommodate their smokers, and there are a lot of smokers in Cambridge City Hall, not dozens and dozens, but I know, and not the city councilors, but there are a lot of people who are low-level administrators and clerks and whatnot who really enjoy taking a cigarette. They don't go out that often.
We don't.
You know, I would put it, you know, I think that's reasonable and fair, and I think that's a reasonable public health accommodation.
Well,
I don't believe in like, what, you were gonna say something and I cut you off.
no, you didn't. I completely concur with you. If somebody wants to smoke, I mean, well, you mentioned we're not going to talk about marijuana bullshit. So.
Yeah, I'm not,
Right.
Cambridge says from smokers, right?
But the thing is, that has nothing to do with it, what we're talking about. The thing is just about smoking, not necessarily Cambridge. You know, if somebody wants to smoke in a restaurant, that's bad. Come on, let's get clear.
What about a bar?
A bar?
Like the Cantab, for example.
Well, that's maybe where I'm going after here.
Well, I'll walk you down there,
God.
because I live near there.
Yeah, I kind of lived on Kennard Street, so I'm not on account. You know.
I know the Cantab well.
Yeah, but I don't miss people smoking in there.
Right.
Because you're going to walk out with your clothes smelling smoke.
Right.
Somebody else is breathing out pattern of smoke.
Right.
So do you think that's okay?
Well, you know, what I think at this...
nice weather like
hold
this,
a second. What I think is immaterial, because we've got 8 seconds left, and I want to thank our audience, Mike, and I want to thank you for coming on the smoking section.
He's cool.